Hello. Good morning or good afternoon, depending where you're at. Over here it is 11:23. And yeah, we're getting ready for our tavern shift. We have a poll going right now on what we work on first. Looks like it's going to be the Jester construct, so went ahead and put that as our first little bar tab. And that's really all the housekeeping for today. I don't really have a whole lot of setup. Didn't finish any more projects or woobles or any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I got my coffee, so get yourself a warm drink. Vote in the poll, and we'll get started shortly. Hello to Wolf Blaze and Aloha. I'm sure there's other people lurking, so hello to you as well. We are dog free today. He was feeling very spicy and not napping, so he's in the other room, chewing on his bone, having a good time. But I'm sure he'll be back tomorrow. It looks so empty without him sleeping there. All right, looks like Jester Construct is staying in the lead, which is great because I really want to get her detailed and finished. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Make myself small. Excellent. Hello, it says, did you guys finish the biomechanical lich without me? Where is he? He is still being posed, so don't worry, you haven't missed on that yet. And I always make sure to share. I mean, at the very least, you'll see that final model on Patreon. All right, so here is our lovely Jester Rogue construct. She has been posed, and now we're just kind of working on the details. So let's go ahead and get started on this. I'm kind of bouncing back and forth, like I'll detail one section and then I'll go to the other and do the same. Like always, if you guys see anything that you're curious, I'm like, oh, like how did you work on this or whatever, definitely ask. I'm happy to share. And these poses are really, really cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin both of them at the bottom left here. So that way, as I'm working, you guys can still see it. Let's hop right in with some fabric folds. I'm gonna use my standard brush and enabling lazy mouse. So what are you guys up to? I might do a little bit longer of a stream today just because I will not be streaming tomorrow, and if I do, it'll be late. I have an appointment at noon. So it just really depends when that finishes. If it's really quick, then I might stream as early as 1. If it kind of drags on, then I probably will not stream tomorrow, but I'll be back the next day. Blaze says, can we add color to see how it's going? At this point, that would be way too much work to add, but I can do that on my future models. I'd have to go through and paint both of them and every single piece by itself, and since there's 2 of them, it'd be double the work as well. So we're not gonna do that with this model. I know I make it look really easy and really fast, like as I'm designing, concepting it, but doing that to a model that's already been posed and working on detail work would take much, much longer. I'm glad that you asked though. I like to know what you guys want to see still. And I always do my best to incorporate that within reason. Looks like you guys are kind of chatting about the weather. It's warmed up here considerably too. I live in East Tennessee. It was really cold there. We got a little bit of snow even just last week. We actually had our truck in the shop for something really minor. We have a diesel, so it was just throwing a code, one of the NOx sensors. It's part of the emissions system. Anyway, it was pretty minor. We just need to get that one sensor replaced. But we dropped the truck off a week ago and then it snowed and the whole state shut down. So our truck sat there for a week because none of the roads were being used. It was pretty silly, but The dealership was really nice. You'd never know that it snowed at this point though. It is warm and sunny, and I think it's like the high today is like 65 or something. Do you guys prefer when it's hot or when it's cold? I'm kind of a bit of a lizard. I don't retain heat very well, and I'm always cold. So I really don't mind the hot weather. Where I grew up, it was extraordinarily hot too. We'd have 30+ day streaks of days over 100. And that's in Fahrenheit, not needless to say, I guess. All right, these sleeves are mostly detailed. There we are. Aloha has been working on their Aquila, my Faye character built from all my assignments. Ooh, I'm excited to see that. That's been lovely. Wolf says the snowbird people are the worst here. I've never heard that phrase before. Snowbird? Huh. Blaze says, I've gone from one extreme to the next, from down south to up north. Oh, no kidding. Are you traveling for something, or just as far as like weather in your local area? Wolf says, I am a bear, always warm and mainly fur. Yeah, no, I've always been on the small side, and I'm always cold. Which again really worked to my benefit when I lived in California, because it was extremely hot where I lived. Out here, not as much. It really doesn't get that hot. People complain about the humidity quite a bit, but it doesn't bother me. All right, sleeves are done. Blaze says, usually snowbirds go to Florida. We moved. Oh, no kidding. Yeah, we have a lot of people here in Tennessee that are from Florida. And I thought there'd be more like prejudice or issue with like people hating Californians here, which they do, don't get me wrong, but not as much as Northerners, which is what they refer to like New Yorkers. I think it's the accent. They're just not a fan. Which compared to like the sing-songiness of like a Tennessean, like East Tennessee especially accent, I get it. It's a pretty big contrast to have like the busy, quick-paced talking of like a New Yorker. It does stand out more than I thought it would. All right, so we're gonna start detailing this leotard. First thing I'll need to do is add some thickness to this. I also need to reconstruct my subdiv. I don't do this very often, so let's see if it plays nicely. It did. I did a great job. Good job, ZBrush. Being very nice to me. I actually ate before my stream, so I'm already all like fed and lunched, which is making me feel very sleepy. After I eat, I get super sleepy. So today's gonna be more like a softer, quieter stream here. I'm happy to answer your questions like always. So don't be shy if you have anything you want to ask about or suggest. I mean, I asked for a little past suggestions with this model because it's pretty much done, so I'm not gonna be changing the pose or anything. My point being, feel free to chat even if I'm not being super chatty. I'm just kind of, I don't know, having a nice day, having a quiet, soft day. Wolf says, Florida people in other southern states move to Mitch in the summer, Michigan, and when one flake of snow hits the ground here, they get accidents so often, like 5 on my way to work. Oh, goodness. It was like that in California, too, in the valley. It was like a drop of rain, though, and then immediate sirens. Blaze says, she can have anything over that, like a vest. No. I don't think that would fit this very well. We're not going to be adding any more components here. We're just doing the detail work. This model is pretty much done. You can add new outfit pieces for a model that's already posed, but it is a lot less efficient. it does depend on what kind of piece you're constructing. If I was in like a sash around her or like drapery, like yeah, it's no problem doing that out of symmetry. But I'm not going to be adding anything else. We're working this on this concept here, which I showed on my initial stream working on it. This one. This is the sketch that they provided. If you do want to submit Patreon requests, you don't have to draw your own sketches or anything. They were just really excited about their characters. They went above and beyond. So this is what I'm sticking to. And I don't think a vest would suit her either. I think, imagine like a contortionist almost. Like that's kind of the outfit here with like the leotard and the leggings. It does just look weird that you can't like see her leggings as of right now, but they will be there in a moment. I wonder if her leggings actually didn't stay. Huh. I'm actually not seeing that mesh at all. It's not the end of the world. Again, I can construct that, especially because it's skin tight. All I need to do to make this look like leggings is to hide some of the smaller skin details, smooth it out, and then add stitching and detail. And then it'll be pretty much the exact same effect. It feels counterintuitive, but it does work. There we go. So yeah, it looks like we'll be sculpting directly on the body for the leggings instead of having them as a separate piece, which again is totally okay. I can use Damn Standard for that and running a line down the side. I will need to split the body again if I'm going to do that and subdivide just to make sure I have enough resolution to add the details that I need. There we go. Making sure to add these seams now before I forget later. Oh, I also need to double check that if I'm going to add the subdivision level that I'm not getting any weird artifacts on these like construct lines I added. Cool. That is still looking nice. Very good. I was a little worried about that. It's being a little harder to add some of these seams. I'll do my best. There we go. And adding the fabric folds is really going to help sell what that kind of material is. Let's get back to the leotard. Blaze says we want to add stuff before the pose, ideally. And then Blaze says, I like the ticket. It tells me we should have given her a couple boot knives. We still can. Adding props isn't an issue. You'll get better once you start actually sculpting your own characters, Blaze, kind of knowing like when stuff can and can't be added. And technically, I mean, there's no hard rules. You can add stuff whenever you want. But it's definitely easier to add certain things prior to posing. But adding a couple knives, and literally all you have to do is grab one, duplicate it, and move it over. I just can't imagine it'd be terribly comfortable to walk around with knives in your boots, so I'd probably be careful with where I'm going to structure these. Probably best if it was even on the outside. So Blaze, are you holding off from sculpting or working on your own like characters and projects until you've gone to the seminar? Kind of curious if you've started that process yet. If I remember, that seminar is in March, so you still have a bit of time. Right now I'm cleaning up these seams here using my pinch brush. Let's go ahead and do that on both sides. Excellent. Now let's add some actual thickness and material. My favorite is using dynamic for that. Just gotta be careful of any weird artifacts. Essentially that's happening because the two sides of the mesh are extruding through each other. There's a couple ways you can fix that. You can simply just make it less thick of a material, or you can also make sure that that line of your mesh is a bit cleaner and so it's not self-intersecting. I find that if you mask by feature, invert the mask and then polish, that can give you a better result. It really just depends. Even polish by groups is a pretty good job. All right, that played pretty nicely. Now let's go ahead and add some edge loops here. And I'll be constructing both the leotards pretty much in the same way. Let's extrude and poly loop. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think it's a good amount of thickness. And then kind of just continue about adding this trim to all of our sides. It seems like ZBrush is really good at extruding the exact opposite way I want it to. That's because that little line telling you what direction it's going to extrude from is so small. This is also a fairly high res mesh to be using a Z-modeler brush on. So I'm definitely pushing it a little bit in that regard. There we go. And now I'm gonna jump over to that other leotard, just making sure I'm adding the same detail and process to each of them as I go back and forth. That way I can make sure they'll be as similar as possible. Usually I would have detailed this beforehand, at least a little bit more, but I was still kind of working out some kinks in my workflow, so it didn't pan out like that this time, but I don't mind. I like being efficient in my workflow as much as possible, but it doesn't always work out that way, and that's totally fine. And just like before, going through here with my extrude poly loop and adding some edge loops to each side. This is exactly the kind of just like chill, relaxing work I was in the mood for today. So I'm glad you guys voted for it. I might have overruled the vote depending, but it worked out. You guys wanted to see the same thing that I wanted to work on anyhow. Also a reminder that every single thing that's in the poll is a request from Patreon, so they're all going to get made at some point. I just have you guys vote to determine what's going to be worked on today. Excellent. All right, and now they are mostly symmetrical again. I'll be doing a little bit of fit issues, just kind of improving it as much as possible as I go on. This is a great place to use a transparency brush so I can really see how it's fit on her body. Like for example, if I pull it this far away, you can see the silhouette of her body underneath. And since this is like that kind of spandexy material, I really want it to be a close fit. There we are. Perfect. Well, I've headed out for lunch. Love you and see you soon. Thanks for joining. I'll see you in a bit. Blaze says, I've been learning the brushes. Learn what brings it up. Oh, what best brings it up. Yeah, B is the easy way to bring up the whole brush palette. But you can also come down here into brush. I got the laptop set up, ZBrush installed. Still trying to figure out the tablet. Oh yeah, very, very, very necessary to use a tablet. Like if you're modeling stuff in the sense of like building like tanks, you can use a mouse, but people that try to use a mouse to sculpt, I think is absolutely crazy. It's like pulling up MS Paint and like trying to click and paint a drawing. Like try to even draw a stick figure with your mouse in MS Paint. I mean, it's just extremely inefficient. It is not the tool for the job. All right, and now we're gonna kind of detail here. I think it's gonna be a pretty simple one. There's gonna be a center line and then some diamonds on each side. I think on the back, I would rather it be this shape. Something a bit more flattering. It's a more interesting contour as well. All right, now I need to add these like diamond shape patterning down the front. I'm curious how I'm gonna approach that. I have a couple different ways I could do it. I could literally construct a diamond, outline it, and manually place each of those blocks all the way down. But I kind of want to look more imprinted. And I think that there is a chisel shapes brush here that might have that, or something very, very similar. Yeah, so this is interesting. This is one of the, I want to say newer brushes to ZBrush. It's not really though, it's just one of the last things they added while Perpetual was still available. But yeah, it's a really cool brush. It's obviously gonna be a little too strong for some of the patterns that I'm needing here. But it's something to play with and think about. I really need like a diamond. Hey, Monkey's here. Hello, welcome. I see the Jester construct has finally won, and there was much rejoice. Yeah, Blaze asks, is there a diamond shaped tool? I don't think so. The closest they have is like this chisel feature brush here with like these stars, which I also do like. I mean, again, the diamond is just a rotated square, so I could just take a cube with different subdiv, there we go, a cube, and rotate it like this, and then kind of place them manually, but that would be a bit tedious. So I'm trying to think of what the easiest way to do this is, and if by chance some of my decoration brushes would suit this well, I don't think it will. But I'm gonna kind of shop around and see what my options are. Because this pattern here is a bit simple, so I wouldn't mind dressing it up a touch, as long as it still reads well. Like I have this pattern here, which is like these inner looped diamonds, and that's kind of neat. Let's see what the code is, JRO51. Just gonna try this out. I think that's gonna work. So there's supposed to be one on each side. Something here and something here. And then they're supposed to be separate colors. Obviously that's not going to read as of right now, but that's gonna work. Excellent. Monkey says, I don't know, I bought a pack of IMM brushes off ArtStation. It has like 50 gems and crystals or poly. I just use that. And I love being custom brushes. again, a diamond brush, it's just a cube, you know? So like, I mean, you could very easily create it, but I don't want to have just a bunch of different subtools sticking off of it. I really want it just to be dry brushable, but still look like it's part of the spandex, like part of the leotard. All right, the best way to get clean lines on this is to hide everything that you're not using. I'm also curious if I'm just gonna do one. Nah, one side's gonna be red, one side's gonna be black. So I'm gonna really nicely draw that on, take my time. Looks good. And then I'll bring that trim back. Looks good. And in the back, I'll probably just do like a really nice sweep. No ZBrush on each side. Perfect. And then after that, all I need to do is start adding some really tight, small fabric folds, and that'll really bring this alive. Blaze says, that'd look good on leggings, wouldn't it? Oh, absolutely. I'll be using this brush in a few different spots now. Very grateful I found this. Reminder, you can make your own custom brushes in ZBrush as well. All right, let's go ahead and add some fabric folds. So since this is gonna be like a tighter material, you're gonna wanna come in with your standard brush, but make some modifications before you get started. One of the things you're gonna wanna do is reduce your draw size so it's smaller, and then make it really high Z intensity. So make these sharp little folds, kind of like that. There we go, it's even better. I'll exaggerate a little bit just for 3D printing's sake, but not too much. All right, let's start from the top down. I'll do my best to have her visible while I'm doing this, just to see how the fabric has been bending. We have this seam right here, so all these fabric folds are going to come back to this point here. With tight materials, it's usually a less is more situation when it comes to fabric folds. I'm gonna add a few small distortions between the pattern. And another couple folds right on her hip. It's hard to even call them folds, it's more like little squishes of fabric since it's so tight. Blight says, I asked a folds question earlier. I know there are certain spots, but how do you know where to put them in other spots? Lots of references, lots of looking at stuff and just thinking, is this bending? Is this not bending? That's a great question. I think there's a certain amount of like artistry and exaggeration, honestly. Or maybe I'll put more folds somewhere where there wouldn't be in real life just because it looks a certain way or because it looks, you know, more interesting. The less interesting answer to that is practice. Lots and lots and lots of practice. But in this case, it's always nice to look up like a reference for like those that are like doing gymnastics or contortion. I don't have any references like that up right now, and I really should. But I'm also excited to get this model finished, and that's just where I'm at this point. I'm already really happy with what I've achieved, so I'm not pushing the envelope as of right now with this model. I think I'm gonna have to split the model right here, which I'm a little disappointed in. They're supposed to be leggings and they got lost at some point during the character creator process. I just didn't notice it. I thought they were still there, just not super visible, but that wasn't the case. So in order to fix that, we need to split this off into its own piece because I've already decimated this body down, which essentially fills the mesh full of triangles. So as I'm trying to add more resolution, it's getting this really, see this? Like that's not very nice. That's pretty ugly distortion there. So we're gonna do a little bit of repair here on the mesh. First thing I did was close holes, and the next thing that I'm gonna do, I might even remove the feet because they're just gonna be tucked into boots anyhow. We'll leave them there, it's fine. All right, and then we'll go ahead and dynamesh these. There we go. So now when I add fabric fold to this, it's not gonna be all squishy. Again, that's really more of a construction error. That's something I don't normally have to do and go fix, but sometimes models don't come out as streamlined as you were anticipating, so you just roll with it. And then Mini Blade says, oh, and I know how you're doing that. You're using a stroke and then next to it, the opposite one, Alt. Yes, more or less. So like add material and carve. Add, carve. Yep. This is just a standard brush. So there's no like special stroke applied to this or anything. So you sculpt a line, then removing one, and then adding more material, kind of back and forth. With tight materials like this, less is more. I'm definitely adding more fabric folds than there needs to be, and that's just because I think they're fun to paint. So it's slowly starting to come together here. I probably shouldn't add too much more until I decide what patterning I want to put on here, which I think is going to be probably just going to grab a masked section so I can get like a really nice clean cut. Something kind of like that. And I'm kind of just playing with an idea. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the stripes on one hip. I think that looks really nice. I'll do the same thing for the side of the body too, where I just kind of grab her legs. I'm running into a bit of a problem here because I have this mesh I have to deal with. So what I can do is I can grab my transpose line and I can try to use this auto masking smart feature to help me out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this its own piece initially, and then I'll come through and split off the hand and return it back to the body in just a moment. All right, so split mask points, that's a-okay as it is. And here I can use even just auto groups to make them two separate pieces. Oh, I already die meshed them though, didn't I? I'll just have to do my best to be careful in this case. Again, this is where like proper construction really catches up with you quickly, and there was really just one mistake I made with this model. I made an assumption that a subtool was there still and it wasn't. That's okay. I can go ahead and piece that back together somewhat easily. There we go, all is fixed. When you're first starting out, you'll have construction issues like this all the time. And I laugh because you'll do it about the silliest things. It's just all part of learning in the process. Leon's back. Hello, welcome back. Leon says, are these folds or stitches on the legs? If they're folds, wouldn't there be more folds on the legs placed that is straight? There would be less folds on a straight leg because there's less bends. They're not stitches. I guess this is kind of like stitches. Just stay tuned. It's so a work in progress. If you guys are worried about folds somewhere where they're not, that's one thing. But if you're waiting there to be more, these legs have not even been detailed yet. But you might have just joined in. We're going back and forth here. Monkey says, you can increase resolution with Dynamesh or by dividing. Yes. Are you just want to ask a question? I think Blaze must ask about improving resolution. Because I know you're not telling me that, Monkey, because like you took my courses, you learned that from me. Very, very, yeah, Blaze says, nice, I'm learning. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Monkey, for providing that info. I guess you guys aren't always talking to me. All right, let's go ahead and add some of these lines here to this leg, which is actually leggings. Don't mind her perfectly sculpted feet under there. Maybe they're just really tight leggings. But yes, to answer Leon's question a little more in depth, one, this leg hasn't, these leggings have not been detailed literally at all. We're doing that right now though. But on these straight legs, there would be less folds. Folds happen for a couple of reasons. The biggest ones to think about are compression and tension. So compression, when you are, do I not have a single thing I can demonstrate this on? There we go. So when you're pushing things together, there's more folds. And then when you're pulling them apart, you end up with a different kind of fold. But yes, notice as I pull this apart, it's straighter and there's less folds. And then as it compresses in on itself, you see more and more folds add. So on the straight legs, it'd be more like it's in tension, right? But spots where like the knees bend, that's some compression. So yes. Blaze says, Monkey is telling me, sorry. No, don't apologize. I was just like, wait. And then duh. Sorry, I had slow brain there. I'm still sipping my coffee. Hello says, excuse us, Mia. We're talking at the back of the tavern. No, talk away. Talk. Monkey says, but I'm always talking to you, Mia, even when you're not around. Joking, obviously. Of course. I mean, also, here's a little fun thing to share with y'all and humble myself at the same time. So for those of you that don't know, I teach and I have a mentorship program. If you want to learn, it's $30 a month and I teach you one-on-one how to use ZBrush. There's a link in the description. Part of that mentorship program is me pre-recording videos so you can re-watch these videos even when I'm not around, right? And this is what's so silly. I forget how to do things myself. So I will rewatch my own videos and literally have myself teach me how to use stuff like array mesh or nano mesh because I don't use these very often. I don't really have the need to unless I'm doing stuff like chainmail, which really doesn't happen very often. So it cracks me up. So if you guys didn't already know that, I also teach myself at least once a month. All right, let's continue here. I really appreciate you guys being so chatty on a day that I'm not really feeling as chatty. Again, I had a really big lunch right before this. And I'm feeling so like warm and tired and full of food and happy. So I'm starting to perk up as the food digests. And Monkey, on like a very serious note, I really appreciate like you elaborating on these concepts in the chat. Especially since Blaze is just learning and they don't have the terminology yet to even ask like, oh, what is like Dynamesh, what subdivisions? That just sounds like nonsense. So you providing that terminology and getting them more familiar, it really helps. All right, let's go ahead and add a little detail blob right here like I did before. Gosh, autosave is driving me crazy. And it's happening a lot because I have this on high subbed. There we go. Don't mind my mumbling there. All right, back to it. Love it. These are looking so cool and they're just about done here too. Monkey says, lunch, I need that turkey leg. Yeah, my goodness, you've been suggesting that as a prop for one of these models for so long. We desperately need like a barbarian or something. Blaze says, I really wish we hadn't lost the tights. This is them. They are here. Do not worry. They would look exactly the same if they were a separate subtool or not. And then Monkey mentioned, like, I just did some zero meshing, which is the same as Dynameshing, but completely different. That's very accurate. You might be talking about the fishnets that I had in that previous stream. Those were never going to be part of the design. All right, now let's start detailing these tights. Or leggings. I guess you could kind of call them whatever you want. And then I need to make sure I go up there and detail this leotard before I forget. This model is kind of coming together very quickly now. Aloha said, luckily the tights are skin-tight piece of clothing that we replicate easily. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm just sculpting directly on the mesh. This is not what skin looks like. Blaze, what's the difference between dynameshing and Z-remeshing? Honestly, you're so close to just learning all this stuff yourself, but to put in a nutshell, dynameshing will change the topology in respect to amounts of detail. Z-remesher does not and aims for quads. And I know it doesn't sound like nonsense to you. And I'm like, you're so close to like learning and stuff. Yeah, Blaze, I think you're being really affected by the fact that you keep seeing it with feet and it's breaking the illusion for you. I guarantee anyone that's just joining the stream are not going to think that these are bare legs. They're going to know right away that's fabric. If you guys think that these are bare legs, that's concerning. I don't know what kind of legs you're looking at. You should go to a doctor if your legs look like this. Monkey said, so dynameshing is dynamically adjusting your polygon density. Yes, in respect to detail. Which I guess detail is just, if you think about it, just how many deformations there are on the mesh. Aloha says, Z-remeshing is a really satisfying way to clean up topology of the model. Absolutely. Z-remeshing generates new topology and does not always respect the existing like Dynamesh does. That's true. I mean, Dynamesh is also new topology though. And Z-remesher does respect what's currently there. That's how it builds new topology, and that's why you can adjust adaptive size right here, which will also kind of dynamically, you really can get Z-remesher to behave almost like Dynamesh between changing your settings and using projection. And Monkey elaborate on that too, like with Z-remesher you can turn on crease, border, polygroup, and it tries to respect those options. Absolutely. Dynamesh doesn't care. It's like, how much resolution do you want, and then it just either destroys or helps your mesh. Dynamesh is so fun, but I really just use it as a tool for low poly stuff. I don't trust it with high poly stuff very often. Not without using other tools such as projection. Which even then, that can be much more trouble than it's worth, depending how much distortion you're getting. All right, let's go ahead and detail this. Also, we can replace these lovely ladies down here with these much more detailed versions that have come about in this 30 or hour or so minutes of the stream. Hour or so minutes. Also, we're talking so much about like Dynamesh and all these tools. Can we just take a moment? This character is so cool and so creative and unique. Like, what a cool request that was made. Hey, you're back and your hair is all cut.
Sure is.
Very nice. Blythe says, okay, thank you guys. And Aloha continues, if you're more of a visual learner, it'll all make much more sense if you do that, which is going into ZBrush, making a sphere with Shift F to view the wireframe, and then play around. Hey, that's pretty much my exact assignment I gave you. Good memory. And then Blaze asking, or suggesting somebody put the dagger and then apologizing about taking it from the stream. Don't worry about it. Monkey, Dynamesh is also weird by the actual size of your model in respect to the world. Oh my goodness, I know. That was something that took me about a year to actually find out. That's a fun surprise, where like you crank Dynamesh up to maximum resolution and it still gives you a blob. Or by contrast, you tell it to like only a resolution of like 100, which Dynamesh resolution, if someone can explain that to me, I'm not sure it's such like a random number. Like you can have a resolution as low as 8 or as high as 4096, and like it's not in respect to pixels. I don't know what it's talking about. I just know that more is more and less is less. They usually Dynamesh are around 300-ish. Yeah, Blaze had a lot of good questions today, and then I appreciate Monkey and Aloha chiming in. And it's fun because I help teach Monkey and Aloha, so it's cool to see my students teaching another, not prospective student of mine, I guess, but just a learner in general. Or who knows, Blaze? I wonder if you'll ever end up joining my mentorship program. I mean, you practically are just by being in my streams every day. I think of it that way, even if you're not official. That came out really nice. And then We Are Borg came here. Hi, I think you're new. I love that name. I'm just gonna call you Borg. Really great to see how it's done. Is ZBrush the only 3D program you use? No, not the only 3D program I use. I also use Mesh Mixer, Character Creator 4, and sometimes Blender. And then I guess if you would consider 3D printing slicers 3D programs, I also use Box and Litchi. But I don't use stuff like Maya because it's so expensive. Oh my goodness. Monkey said, so like when I was bringing in models from Character Creator 4, they're really big compared to what you create in ZBrush. So then I tried using Dynamesh, making millions of polys. Yes. I fixed that really quickly by just merging the entire transport from Character Creator 4 and using Unify. And everyone's welcoming Borg. Good. Borg says, hello people, I was just lurking again. Can't watch all of it, but it's been great to see this. And better yet, she enjoys it. Oh cool, so you're one of my lurkers that has now transitioned into the tavern. I guess you're all here. But once you talk, I know who you are. So welcome again anyway. I think that's how everyone starts. I think Aloha mentioned she actually lurked for a few months until she actually joined the chat. And now I can't get her to leave. I also appreciate you mentioning Borg, like that I love this. I'm always worried that it doesn't come across sometimes. Because it's all I think about. Like, I've had to set rules for myself to stop working. Because even when I'm like laying in bed at night, I'm thinking of like different characters I can create and ways that I can get faster so I can make more models and get more requests done. And I don't know, it just feels like this forever changing problem for me to solve. And I don't know, I feel so lucky to do what I do. I'm still getting better, which makes me really happy. Once you get to a certain skill level, it's really normal to kind of plateau. But I'm still seeing steady progress, really in like 6-month increments if I had to like put a number on it. So that makes me really happy. I hope to keep it going. Though I am happy with my current skill level, but everyone wants to get better. All right, she's just about done, y'all. These two are super neat and really odd. And what a weird request that just became something awesome, which is about what I expect from Micah at this point. So Micah has been making requests for a few months now, and I have a whole army of constructs that I've made for him in the last few months. At this point, I think his players are just used to seeing my models. Very cool. Hey, Scott's back. Welcome back. Borg says, well, ZBrush was already 500 or 450 euros for me. I really want to learn it. That's for the perpetual license, which I don't think they even offer anymore. You can start learning this as cheap as $10 US dollars a month. That's ZBrush Core. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Hello, yeah, you guys can't get me out. It's true. It's true. And Monkey, same thing with me, just always thinking about work because we love it. Monkey says, like, I'll be grocery shopping and I just constantly thinking about what I need to do, not just 3D modeling, but like across all my projects. Yeah, isn't that fun? It is. And I have a world that I've been working on that's kind of like a fusion of like fantasy and music. For those that don't know, I also play piano and guitar. I used to write my own songs. I don't do that as much anymore, but I have a huge passion for music and I'd like to kind of merge those two into a tabletop world. Scott says, is an individual part a subtool, a ZBrush thing? It's just a separate part of a layer, right? So layers mean something different in ZBrush than they do in like Procreate or Affinity or Photoshop, for example. So I'm not going to even get started on layers. But yes, subtools are essentially layers. Yes, you could say it like that. It's just pieces. Hindsight, complacency is the enemy of progress. It's true. Always pushing just a little bit. Blaze says, this would make a cool, larger model instead of just 28mm. Everything you design that's 3D, think of it like a vector. You can make it as big as you want. Like this model, I did not design. This is also 28mm. I unfortunately don't have the small one on me right now. It's like in a different room. But I've printed this exact model that big as well. So it doesn't mean anything. So that's why when people message me like, oh, can I print, like, do I have to print this 28mm? You do not. You can print it as big or as small as you want. And I made the small one. Everything I show you on stream, I probably made it. Blaze says, another lurker. Hi, Scott. I mean, Scott's tuned in a few times, so I'd say he's upgraded from a lurker at this point. Borg says, ZBrush Core hasn't seen that one, going to their site to look. Yes, if you go to Maxon and look for ZBrush Core, they hide it. You literally cannot find it. But if you Google ZBrush Core, it will show up. I'm going to put the link in for you guys because I swear if you try to find it, you're like not going to be able to find it. But check it out. A lot of my mentorship students use this. Blaze says, yes, I was imagining how this one would look in a bigger model. She definitely looked great. It's like a statuette size. Awesome. I think I got all the chat there. Kind of burst all at once for a moment. I'm gonna go ahead and save this before I forget. That looks good as is. This piece here also looks good, but I'd like to add a little bit more material to it just so we don't have to worry about any fragile issues when we're 3D printing. Oops, I had that sway the wrong way. There we go. No, ZBrush, stop. But yeah, ZBrush Core is a great place to get started and stay there. I use ZBrush Core professionally for at least 6 months. And when I say professionally, that just means it was my sole source of income that was supporting me and my husband full-time. You don't have stuff like the Z Modeler brush, but really depending on what you're using, it doesn't matter. Or not what you're using, my bad. What you're creating, it doesn't matter. If you're doing a lot of organic forms, especially, the Z Modeler brush still can be a nice tool, and I certainly use it now in my workflow, but it's not necessary. Hindsight says, I can't wait for my son to start getting diagram projects in school. Oh yeah, how fun. Monkey, we do that sometimes. Chat outburst. Also true. You don't have to always acknowledge or respond to them all. I don't. I definitely don't feel pressured to, but I like talking to you guys. If I didn't want to talk to you guys, I wouldn't stream. Or maybe I would just sit here and just ignore y'all. Which, I guess to be fair, I do that sometimes. If I'm really in the zone, I'll go up to 10 minutes without looking at the chat or talking to y'all. But you're pretty self-sufficient and also well-behaved. I'm lucky I don't have to baby the chat here. I want this emblem to be a bit larger or just deleting it entirely. It needs to be one of the two. I think I'm just going to make it larger. Yes. Excellent. Gosh, she is so cool. Hindsight, she's challenging our behavior, daring us. No, you've been so well behaved. Please stay well behaved. Play says, here's a thought. Fit Ricky to work talking to us while you just draw. But I like this part of it. I like the back and forth, especially because like our last stream a few days ago, we designed that genie, or even the imp. We pretty much designed all that together. I think you guys make my art better, truly. Borg says, thank you. You found where we can order because that's another site, Pixologic. Yes. I think you found where you can, okay, there's a typo there. That's another site. No, the site I just sent to you is Maxon. It's Pixologic is no longer even a thing. If you're looking specifically to where you can purchase this and they're being a pain about that, I can send you a direct link for that too. You should be able to find it at that link I just sent you, but I don't blame you if they've hidden that as well. And just a reminder, it's not a one-time purchase. Unfortunately, nothing is now, it seems like. All right, this site is called Pixologic, which is funny because it's not a thing anymore, but you still can buy ZBrush Perpetual, I guess. Oh, interesting. It's just through Pixologic. I wouldn't trust that. Anyway, ZBrush Core is still a thing. It is supported by Maxon. It's $10 a month. I'm having a hard time finding that specific purchase option, but it is a thing. Blay says, the genie turned out great. Thank you. I'm really happy with that. Hindsight says, I'm much annoyed that I never bought the perpetual license. I hate the subscription model everything is forcing us into. I get you. I mean, obviously, I'm not completely against it because that's what Patreon is. And that's my business, is a subscription model, really. However, I release new content every month, so it makes sense to me. That's why, like, subscriptions for software drives me crazy because I'm like, they're not meaningfully improving it every month, which isn't a fair expectation anyway. I wouldn't even mind if it's like you buy it once and then the updates are something you pay extra for. Like, I don't expect free support for my programs, but charging me just to use it every month, I agree, that drives me crazy. Unless there's actual content coming out each month, or perhaps there's like an online component where there's a server being hosted. There has to be more substance to it. I definitely agree with you, Hindsight. Borg says, they have the hidden core. You can't find the $10 version on Maxon. I literally had a student buy this within like the last 2 weeks. So unless they just updated that, I mean, I don't know if it matters if it's through Maxon or not at this point. No, that's who owns it. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I can't find this. I just sent this to a student. On my break, I'm going to find it. We'll see. Monkey said, that said, I'm all for making Ricky sit there and have forced conversations with us. He's a pretty good talker. Also, I just know, like, the first link I sent you was from Maxon for ZBrush Core. They would not advertise it if you could not buy it. Maxon's all about making money. which I guess they've done a fine job with ZBrush. It just, I'm with hindsight, where having this perpetual subscription, that's what it feels like, isn't my favorite. But at least they brought back a free trial for ZBrush. I feel like that was gone for a while there. Mini Blaze says, I saw it there a few days ago. Thank you. I'm feeling crazy. I don't know why I can't find it right now. I usually can. Next time I find this link, I'm going to keep it and hide it forever, because wow, they have really just disappeared this as much as possible. Probably because it's such a good deal. I mean, goodness, I'll give up on that for now. It's real, I promise. I'm so sorry I cannot find it. The ZBrush Core is real and you can purchase it, and if you buy it through Pixelogic, that's probably fine too. And then Spock is here. Hi, I believe that you're new. New Sorceress model is awesome with a bunch of fire emojis. Oh, then you're definitely not new. That means that you saw my Patreon release, or you support me there too. If so, thank you so much. That's actually a good time to bring that up. This is my Patreon. If you guys aren't familiar, it's where I share 3D printable models. And then yesterday was our release, and this is the model they're talking about, my Storm Sorceress. I have 2 different versions of her. This is our action pose. This is the 3D print, and she's only this big. This isn't the actual model, but this is the size that's printed, that photo. And then I have the action pose too. So yeah, I'm glad that you like that model so much. I think I had that in my Discord being, if you guys want to vote for your favorite. Speaking of, if you want to join our community, it's totally free. On Patreon as well, there's a join for free button, so feel free to check that out. Spock says, just joined last month. Well, thank you, and thanks for tuning into a live stream too. This is where the magic happens. Oh, Non-Sleeper's here. Hello, welcome back. Monkey says, it's all about making the suits happy and making stocks go burr. And that's talking about, for those who are just tuning in, someone asked about a cheaper version of ZBrush, and I was like, oh, there's ZBrush Core, and now I cannot find it for them to purchase, and I feel crazy because I just sent that to a student of mine like a week ago. So I'll have to find that link again. All right, I believe this model is actually complete. I'm not going to post-process it for 3D printing on stream because it's terribly boring. All I do is merge all the subtools down and remesh by union over and over and over again. That's literally it. So I'm not going to do that on stream because it's boring for you and it's boring for me. Instead, it looks like we have a new winner in the poll at the top here. You can vote for and work on next, which is the Eye of the Deep, which is essentially just a beholder, but oceany. So let's go ahead and work on that. All right, I'm gonna take a brief 15-minute break. I'm gonna get this all reset for a new model, and I'll see you guys then, okay? Thanks for joining. Hello, I'm back. Yeah, after a bunch of digging around looking desperately for that ZBrush Core link, I think Max on accident. I cannot find it anywhere. It existed last week. It does not anymore. It looked like Non-Sleeper found it. Put that in our Discord. YouTube doesn't let you put links in. Only if you're the admin, which is me. I'm going to throw my Discord link in here too. It's at the top with little hearts of join our community, but here it is again. Anyone that's lurking or talking, whatever, anyone, you guys are invited to join that. And in the meantime, let's get started on this beholder. I mean, aquatic eye monster. So yeah, it's pretty much like a beholder, except there's a bit of a twist on it. This is going to be more aquatic. So it's going to have like lobster arms and jellyfish tentacles. I put a little ticket right here with like the main things that the requester asked for. So let's get started. Gonna get our scene set up here with our material and a couple lights. This just makes the model look nicer as we are designing. Makes it easier to see the detail as well. All right. Well, it's a sphere. So let's make it not a sphere. Alrighty. First thing I'm going to do is create the eyeball. And then some eyelids as well. I'm gonna duplicate that sphere again, close holes on the top and bottom, add a quick Dynamesh for that, and then pull this up and around with my move brush. It's gonna look a lot like Mike Wazowski until it doesn't. Monkey says it's a C holder. Yes. Blaze, what the heck did they ask for? Yeah, I don't know if you're really very into tabletop games, Blaze, but a beholder is a pretty classic monster in just tabletop lore and D&D and whatnot. Borg says, I found it on Pixologic website, but the version is 2020, and that's the only one I can find. That's fine. What I'm using is 2022, so my software is technically 2 years, 3 years out of date. It does not matter. If you can find ZBrush Core, use it. I don't want to like push you, Borg, but like if you are in a Discord, if you can please share that link so I can have it and I can save it, that would be great. Because I could not find it, which was baffling for me. So right now we're going to start sculpting out this mouth shape, and then very quickly I'm going to add some tentacles and some poly paint. Poly paint is just texturing the model, so adding some color. It doesn't affect the finished 3D model at all. It just makes it more fun for the stream and for me at this point. Blaze says, I know what a beholder is, but the lobster claws and jellyfish tentacles are throwing me off. Well, tentacles aren't that odd for a beholder. That's pretty normal. Jellyfish is a bit of a flare on it. So again, it's like it's an aquatic beholder. As Monkey put, a sea holder. I'm going to change my poly paint here to drag rectangle. And starting to block out some colors. If you're new here, trust the process. If you're not new here, you know this is just the beginning. I'm gonna come with my clay brush and kind of rough up this shape so it's not so perfectly spherical. Kind of adding some texture here by roughing it in some shapes. Very quickly looking like something though. To be fair, it is a sphere. It's not very hard to iterate on the shape here. Right now I'm really quickly concepting. I'm only going to be doing one side at a time, and the reason for that is because I can just mirror and weld afterwards. No sense in doing the same amount of work twice. Mirror and weld. For the center line, I'm a little more careful, and I actually take the time to move those manually. For the bottom teeth, I will duplicate the top, flip it 180, and piece it here. It does need to arc the other way to best fit the mouth. So to find that, I'm going to use a bend arc deformer, which is under the 3D gizmo. Come on, ZBrush. Polypaint's being a little picky right now. No matter. I can grab that color myself. All right, we have a bit of a spooky face here. We're gonna keep on moving on to get more and more of this concept blocked out quickly. Wolf says, already looks like a plankton. That's the goal. Wolf's back. Hi, welcome back. Hello, what is she doing to Mike, guys? Yeah, it's very Mike Wazowski right now. Borg says, join the Discord, but on 10-minute countdown to post, so we'll do it later. Okay, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Let's see. And then Blaze says, I like the shade of blue for the water theme. Yeah, me too. And then it's easy to have like these lighter colors here that I can then kind of build upon. And I'll show you guys how to paint an eyeball in just a moment. But first we need more tentacles. So to construct these tentacles, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a cylinder. I do have some really nice jellyfish tentacles I've already made, because a while back I made this really, really nice jellyfish model for my Pirates collection. But for now, I just want to get these shapes blocked out so we know what it's going to look like. These are going to be a more orangey color. Just because it's a fun color scheme more than anything. And these are not very detailed right now, but we're really just finding shapes and concepts. Again, big strokes first, and then we can go back in later to get more of that fine detail. If you have a boring shape, no amount of detail is going to make it look better. There we go. I think I might give it two mouths, kind of like a moray eel where they have that secondary mouth. But until then, I do want to kind of throw on a tongue here. And again, I'm probably going to duplicate this entire mouth assembly one more time, and we'll see some pretty big changes happening here shortly. Excellent. And now let's get those arms blocked in. kind of creating, I guess, what would be a deltoid muscle-like structure. This is going to be a lobster claw. It's just in very, very early stages right now. Enchanting. All right, let's start playing with these proportions. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this whole thing into Transpose Master, and then we're gonna quickly iterate on it. As of now, we look absurd, which is good. Cursed Blue Kirby, accurate. And yes, his name is Bubbles of the Deep. Blubbers of the Deep. Hi, welcome, Taylor. All right, let's make this more interesting. Oh, you know, I don't think I can duplicate pieces in Transpose Master without it having an absolute meltdown. So I'm going to actually delete this and go back, because if it doesn't have a mesh to refer back to, it just breaks Transpose Master. Glad that I remembered that now instead of later. I really don't like the arms. I think that's a weird thing to add to this, so I'm going to just make them smaller, perhaps, so I can not deal with them. I want these to have more of a curve to them as well. There's just a lot of changes that are going to happen. Once I'm done doing everything that I have in mind, I'll definitely check back in with the chat and see if you guys have any additional awesome ideas to share, because you usually do. But for now, I've got to get what I've got planned done. At this point, it might be kind of fun for you guys to guess mentally of like, or you can put it in the chat too, I just won't see it right away, of what I've got planned. There's a direction I'm going to take this. It just needs to cook. This is kind of like when I worked on that biomechanical lich, and kind of just went in the zone for a little bit there. It's kind of fun for me too, because I never know what I'm going to get back to when I do look at the chat again. Sometimes you guys are talking about the weather, sometimes you guys are talking about what you're going to have for lunch that day, and other times it's this really intense discourse about design and art and architecture. right, it's starting to come together. I'm starting to see the shapes that I was wanting to add into this. I can see the chat flying in the corner of my eye. I haven't seen the little orange ping that is my name though out of the corner of my eye, so I'm assuming you guys are fine. I'd say this is quite the improvement from what we have over here to the left. Almost done with that laundry list of ideas I had in my head. Definitely not finished, my goodness, but we're at least at a point now where I can kind of see what's going on. Oh, hey, I saw color. I didn't expect non-sleeper just joined with members for the channel. Thank you so much. You're my second member now. So down below we have a little mug with Aloha's name on it. Now we'll have a little mug down there with non-sleeper on it. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I think this has improved immensely. What do you think? Obviously needs help, but something's happening. All right. I'm scrolling up. It looks like you guys were just typing cook over and over again, which is beautiful. That's exactly what I was doing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blaze says, worry it's going to cause a resin pocket in the mouth. Do you 3D print, Blaze? I'm just kind of curious because it's a good question, but it tells me that maybe you haven't done 3D printing yet. In order to have a pocket of resin, you would have to have a model that has a hole inside of it and then print that whole whole model without any drainage holes. So that only happens when you're hollowing a model. This is not going to be a drainage collection trap. It's also really not finished. And Blaze also says, this is looking pretty scary. Thank you. Also needs some eye stalks to convey he's a beholder. Your girl's not about to get sued. This is not a beholder. Again, this is an aquatic eye monster. Inspired by, sure, but I'm not here to just flat out copy other IP. Wolf says cook as well, thank you. And also asks, is this requested creature a beholder or a creature that's close to a beholder? My goodness. Yeah, just close to. It's specifically called an eye of the deep. It's beholder-like, but again, your girl's not about to get sued out here. I'm gonna make my own cool thing, and then requester's happy, I'm happy, I made something that's new. Everybody wins. Hindsight says, well, mini beholder. They don't really have babies, so to speak. This is debatable. All right, looks good. Their birth had nightmares. Taylor asked, what is the difference between YouTube membership and Patreon? So there's two Patreons, first of all. One is for 3D models, one's for mentorship. Mentorship is its own thing entirely where I teach you how to sculpt. Now, as far as getting 3D printable models on Patreon, that's where you get access. YouTube is just a fun place to you can support me. And if you also want to make requests, there is a legendary tier on YouTube for that. But you don't get access to 3D printable models by being a YouTube member. YouTube membership is really for people that want to support the stream, maybe put a request in every now and then, get a fun badge next to their name, and most importantly, a mug down below at the tavern. So there you go. That's your answer. Blay says, FDM, my hubby uses resin. Oh, fun. They're both so much fun to have and then very, very different. We also have both. Our FDM is kind of our favorite child at the moment because it's a Bamboo Labs, and those are just so fancy and so much fun. He looks it's kind of reminding me of a lionfish in some ways right now. I think I'm going to continue with this mohawk idea because it also reminds me of fins. And it still does have kind of that eye stalks feel while being something interesting and something new. We will still have those lobster arms, but I don't really feel like sculpting lobster claws right now, so I'm just not going to yet. I need to separate what the bottom part is here from the top, so we're gonna go through all these crazy tentacles and click on them all. Yes, they're all going to touch the base, so don't have to worry about pre-supporting them. Here we go. Oh yeah, Non-Sleeper's name is also green. I didn't connect, Aloha, that your name turned green when you joined YouTube membership, or that's what it does, but it sounds so stiff that way. When you became a member of my channel, there we go. Non-Sleeper, your name is so long on here that's very obvious that you're in green. Play says, oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, the more you know. And then they have a P1S. Very cool. Non-Sleeper says, lionfish. If you flatten all of those jelly arms. Absolutely. And then let's see if I want to end up with kind of these spiked ridges on each side. I'm not sure if that's going to work texture-wise, but I want to add a little bit more layering here. So let's go ahead and mirror and weld. Oh, that looks really silly. That looks like he has a bad haircut. Yeah, I don't like that, but I like the concept. So why did that come out so silly? I know why. It needs to be like this, and then flipped. I want the spikes to go outwards, not inwards. Otherwise it just, I mean, I guess you could argue this is just a bad haircut regardless. Oh, Monkey also joined. That's 3 members now. You guys are gonna be filling up my thing. Monkey, I want a banana on my mug. Okay. I'm making a note of that right now. All right, Ricky, you gotta make 2 more mugs. Who would have thought that it's the little picture of a mug down there that you guys are like, I love Mia, but really the tipping point here is this mug. All right, Monkey, you will definitely have a banana on your monkey mug. Perfect. Yeah, Ricky said you got it. Beautiful. Oh, hey, someone new. Too dead to live. Rip. I'm just gonna call you Liv. Liv says, hey, just curious, what do you use to achieve that tinted shadow / ambient occlusion like the ones for the stream preview? That's a super good question. Sometimes it's an illusion of poly paint, but to get a fun render, it's something in Lightbox. If you click on comma, it brings up Lightbox. Go to render set, scroll over all the way to the right, and there's 2 options I use a lot, which is preview AO, which is ambient occlusion, and radial overlay. Let's go ahead and do the radial overlay because it should give that shadowing effect inside of the mouth. There you go. So there's one, which it looks okay. That wasn't like a super amazing one. That's why I bounce back and forth between these two different render sets and then preview AO. That's a bit better. But I hope that answered your question. While you're on the topic though, you can paint ambient occlusion. I have a bit of a trick for that. If you grab your paintbrush and then change it to drag rectangle, and the next thing, the really important part, is enabling back face mask, which is usually for sculpting brushes, but you can use it in conjunction, that's a right, conjuncture. Use it with the paintbrush for some cool effects. Let me show it to you. I'm gonna paint in black so it's really obvious. So if I click and I drag, that's with back face mask turned on. See, that's the before, it's the after. So you can paint on ambient occlusion. I came by this on complete mistake. If I didn't have back face mask turned on, it would just paint the whole model black. If you do enable back face mask, it's pretty much just painting ambient occlusion on manually, which is a really, really good trick and effect. And speaking of, for this model, that helps immensely, so I'm gonna use that trick right now. I'm gonna reduce the RGB intensity so it blends a bit nicer. But yeah, it just kind of adds a nice little punch of depth. I hope that answered your question in more than one way, and if it didn't, ask again, and I'll find a better way to answer it. Borg says, posted the pricing in general with prices I found. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna go in there right now and grab that link. Oh, okay, so it is Pixologic/Jumpstart. I clicked on that and it looked like the link was dead and I was kind of concerned about that. But if it's working in your area, that's all I care about. Yeah, when you click on subscribe, it just says, oops, link not found. I'm gonna still look for that for you. Thank you for sharing that though. That's the best that I have found so far as well. Hindsight, conjunction, thank you, I was having a stroke. Wolf said, that's like airbrush shading. Yes, it is, it is. And Hindsight also says, I think it'd be cool if the tendrils were kombu seaweed. What? Kombu seaweed. I don't know what that is. How is that different from normal seaweed? We're gonna find out together. It's not. It is normal seaweed. But it sounds fancy. I like it. Yes, that's what they're gonna end up looking like. I have a beautiful jellyfish model where I pretty much have done that. And I just don't feel like resculpting that work. Let me see if I have my jellyfish model available to pull up on stream. If not, I'll download it because it's so nice. I'm really proud of it. Yep, I have it saved. Good job, Mia. All right, we're gonna take a small little jump here and I'm gonna show you this jellyfish model that I created, okay? This one was completely from scratch. I think it's on stream. Ah, isn't it beautiful? It's so simple. And this is the unposed version, but I knew I would want it later to cut and paste for a model like this. So let's go ahead and just bring that entire jellyfish in here and let's improve the model we have by kit bashing pieces I already have. All right, and then Liv says, thanks, it's quite clever, very good. And then Taylor tagged me, what if he had a coral brain-like pattern? Oh my God, that is such a good idea. We are going to do that. Yep, we are absolutely going to do that. I don't even know how to do that, but we're going to. To do a brain-like texture, I think I would do it the same way I did kind of like a moral mushroom. So maybe I'd come back here with my mask pen and turning on symmetry, and I would probably just find these shapes here. I really need to look up a reference for this. I'm being a bit of a menace to myself right now by not... I've sculpted brain coral before. Mia in the past has solved this problem. But Mia now wants to solve it again like it's new. Alright, I kind of just threw this texture on here really quick to play with it. And then we should be sucking it inwards. And I can even flip the mask here and poly paint the inside so it's even a bit darker. What do I think about that, guys? Just that kind of texture. I mean, I didn't do the greatest job, but I did a good enough job to at least get the seed of that idea going. Especially excellent idea today, Taylor. Goodness. I'm still thinking about your genie lamp idea. I now want to do a different genie entirely, but where the chest is a huge concave spot with the lamp acting as his heart. That's just cool and cool to paint. Everybody liked that. Monkey, it really adds that umami flavor. All right. What else? What else? Hindsight says if you Google seaweed, there's a whole bunch of different types. I will have to look at that too. Wolf says, am I allowed to advertise other ways to obtain ZBrush? Yes, in my Discord with just say it's allegedly, just say it's a suggestion. But yes, I'm fine with that. All right, looks good. Lowe's wanting a swirl brush. Not yet, we're still developing our base forms. Very good. Monkey says a little smoothing and slight detailing on the rim, it'll be just fine. I think so too. I've kind of started to build up some forms using the clay brush in standard, and I think that's gonna work out really, really nicely. All right, we need to start developing these swirls here. These are the tentacles I want to be using. We're not gonna delete these quite yet. Our placeholder's doing a great job. It sounds like they're upsetting Blaze. We'll fix them. Blaze is not a fan of placeholders. Blaze just wants finished, which I relate. It also kind of reminds me of playing fetch with my dog, where they're like, no take, just throw. I'm like, we must have construction lines before we finish. No, just finish. I wish. That's just not the world that we live in. All right, we have some tentacles here. And then these should be separate subtools. I'm very sad if they're not. Very good. Because they're separate subtools, I can come in with my Move Topological brush and very quickly grab and pull these from side to side and get a more dynamic look. I can also use my 3D Gizmo deformer to play with the shapes even more. And this gets more of that seaweed texture that Hindsight was suggesting, which I really think is a good idea. Let's go ahead and taper. Just kind of curious what that would look like. I think I just need to do some manual adjustments with this one. The color palette here is a bit outrageous too, but we're having fun with it. I also want to develop the mouth a bit more. There's just so many things I want to work on still. This is going to be a fun model. Maybe a bit more fun than I expected. I wasn't dreading this model by any means, but I was just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to pick up a holder. But now that I'm working on it, it's a lot more than that. Why is my move brush acting so weird? Ah, my move brush is acting weird because I was not using my move brush, I was using my pinch brush. That explains a lot. I think having that brain coral texture continuing up the front of the model will be a really nice touch. Let's see if I can make this eyeball a bit more interesting with some poly paint. Eyeballs are fun because you really just kind of keep layering. I don't know why he's looking down so much. I'm just kind of playing with it. It's a bit blurry, but it's something. I need to add a bit more volume onto the back here, because he's looking not spherical enough now. There we go. Oh, I missed you guys for a bit. There's lots of talking. I'm gonna skim to see if there's any questions for me, but if not, I'll let it go. He needs barnacles on his teeth. Oh, that's a great idea. Aloha says, do you think having some teeth slightly outside the mouth, like they're on the exterior of the lip, could make it more sinister? Ooh, that'd be interesting. Hindsight says, nah, they get scraped away when he gnashes on things. I do think more so what Aloha is suggesting is having some teeth that point outwards more. And I agree, there's definitely going to be more, kind of like that. More teeth that are sticking straight out and just being a bit gnarlier. Like, there we go. There's a bit more of a snoot appearance happening. I like it. And then Blaze is concerned about having placeholders or things blocked out. And, oh, young Padawan. Padawan. You have so much to learn. Just start designing for it and you're going to answer a lot of your own questions here. You gotta sketch before you ink. Wolf says, what is your warm drink of choice? Definitely coffee, followed by more coffee. Monkey is milk. Aloha says, yes, like the mouth can't contain all the gnawing teeth. Looks awesome. Thank you. Padawan. All right, let's go ahead and grab. We're going to go mirror, mirror and weld, and pull this little secondary mouth. I need to reference a moray eel, because that's kind of what I'm going for here, but I don't really know enough about a moray eel to do it from memory. I just know they have a cool secondary mouth thing. I just can't remember the logistics of it exactly. All right, and then it's about time to build up these lobster arms again too. I think I kept those claws somewhere. I just can't really remember. I like this jellyfish head too. I just don't know how to incorporate it. If at all. I probably don't actually need it. But I feel like there's a fun way to incorporate this because it's just a nice little bit of texture. What if I used it as kind of like his shoulder blade points? Not sure. And I think I'm gonna have these lobster claw arms kind of like more like hang down and blend in with the tentacles somewhat. But I might not. We're just gonna be playing with the design here. Okay, I don't like that. We're gonna just dynamesh it into nothing. Alright, what else can I do with these? I'm curious if I can use a taper brush to get a bit more of an interesting spread. And I also think they just overall need to be a lot skinnier as they run up the head. So I'm going to change my brush type to mask by polygroups, which is really nifty because what it will do is my brush will only act on one polygroup at a time. So I don't have to worry about distorting all of them. I can just grab one piece at a time. We're gonna hide this for now and then kind of see if I can continue that theme upwards. I'm gonna get rid of the small spikes too. I don't really need them. I don't even mind having almost like two. Oh, it'd be kind of cool if these tentacles, these jellyfish-like tentacles were coming out of this brain coral-like structure. That could be really, really neat and a nice seamless blend of ideas. It also kind of looks like his hair is on fire. To deform organic things, I find using the transpose line to do the best job. It's much more detailed. There is just too many of them. I think I'm just gonna grab one and give this a little bit more love and care. It just needs more attention. It's a bit of a needy panini. I can tell it's gonna need me to tell it what to do directly. Some designs you can kind of just like throw on there and you get kind of a nice result. Other ones are really fragile and you gotta kind of like, okay, what if I do this? There we go, that's looking better. I'll mess with that more later. All right, where are these stupid little lobster claw arms that I know are gonna look cool once I figure out how to balance them? Maybe they just need to be like really in your face. Like I gotta really just commit to this design. It's hard to tell if my problem with it is the fact that it's a blob, or if my problem with it is that it's kind of stupid and I'm trying to put arms onto an eyeball, which is inherently posing problems. Also, I'm pretty sure these lobster claws are upside down. Which arguably is the least of this thing's problems right now. Oh, Clute's here. Hi, welcome, welcome. Taylor says, Popeye lobster arms. I could do that. All right, you guys are chatting, having a great time. I love it, I love it. Monkey said hot soda, awful. Peak, you are a monster. Hello, and nothing warms me up like some hot resin right off the build slate. That does not get old to me. That is still funny. Nope, I still hate the arms. I will find a way to do them. I just need other aspects of the design to be a bit stronger before I'm open to that. Hot resin. Do not drink resin. Not endorsed. Alrighty. I got some more design ideas that I'm gonna start implementing here. I really want to give him multiple eyeballs too. Can I do that? Look, I'm breaking some eye monster rules. I just can't help it. I want him to have even more eyeballs. It looks stupid and I like it. My tavern, my rules. Oops, that was a jump scare if you guys were watching. It is improving. The design is getting better. It's just, it's something. It's something. He's just teeth. This model is just teeth. You must become one with the 3D model. I'm working on it. Wendell, you know what they say, beauty is in the number of the eyes, legally distinct beholder. Oh, Ella's here. Hi, welcome, welcome. Love the new overlay. Thank you. He needs some tentacle arms. He does. They're going to have lobster claws on them. He's like a ocean beholder or something. We're working on it. All right. This is a texture nightmare. Oh, absolutely. Thank goodness. I just have to 3D print it. All right. You guys are talking so much. I have to scroll up I'm missing stuff. I like it. All right, we're gonna go about this with some arms, but instead of making them lobster claw-esque, we're gonna just not worry about that right now. And we're going to add a nice little taper here and draw on some arms. There we go. They just need to be more tentacle-y, less structured. This is the way. An unsurprising great suggestion from Natalie right off the bat. Oh, he's such a hot mess. I still like a part of this more, the initial concept, just because it kind of reminds me of a flaming skull. But this guy is cool too. He just needs more help. I'm getting rid of his extra eyes. They don't need to be there. The urge to make this just covered in eyes is real, but it's not the point. Sea holder, yes. And I think monkey's right, that's like actually what it's called. I think this one's Eye of the Deep, but yeah. Aloha says, can this guy have one of those anglerfish headlamps for prey? Ooh, I think that would just fit the model so well that, I mean, there's really just no reason not to do that. So, let's go ahead and do that. At the very least, just see what it looks like. I think this is going to be a yes. I think it's going to be something that's immediately readable and just cool. Real cool always wins. The guy that supported this, Bobby, he has been, again, a lot of my people that request stuff every month. He's been supporting me forever. And it feels good because I know he's a fan of my work, so I don't have to be like too stressed about making this request exactly what he asked for. As long as it fits the bill and it's just real cool, I know he's going to like it. You know, he's got a lot of work that needs to get done, but for like a mad dash of what was the like the last 40 minutes of the stream, under an hour from nothing, I'm not mad about it. He definitely has a best angle, and I don't think it's from the front. All right, we have finally improved from our initial one. I think it's grown enough. Wolf, can you make him in a pose of a creature hugging someone? Just like, why not? It might not make the official release, but it's sure gonna make me laugh in the meantime. I think I need to flip his arms 180 to make it look like he's hugging the right way. Nah, we're just fine this way it was. But I'm still gonna have his arms up like he suggested because I just think that's funny. And it does make the silhouette a little easier to read at the same time. We're gonna just keep on mushing these tentacles around until they make me happy. There's too many tentacles. Go away. We're going to refine and then build upon. It looks good from this side. I like that. But from the front, it's a little bare. I can work on that. But I think it's going to be more like a curtain like a beard sort of thing going on. We're trying things. Just, you know how it's like just think that just keep spinning? And so it's like just keep iterating. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, but that's what I'm thinking in my head. Yeah, I don't hate that. Oh, how in the world did this become radial symmetry? That's a new one. Is there a hotkey for radial symmetry that you guys know about? Because apparently there is, and I just enabled it. It wasn't hard to unenable it, but I'm just surprised it happened in the first place. That looks better. Usually the side silhouette and the front silhouette have a little bit more relationship. This guy is kind of breaking the rules. I also just want his eyeball to look different. I just want it to be scarier. I like when he's looking up. It looks like he's rolling his eyes at you. Like he's just tired of this. He just wants to look cool already. I'm doing my best. Now his eyeball reminds me of a Jolly Rancher. That's unnerving. Yeah, we'll roll with that for a while. Again, it doesn't actually affect the finished 3D model for any of y'all that are wondering. It's just a thing that I do because it's fun. All right, this is looking pretty cool. This is a something. Oh yeah, he is something in for sure. I like it. Non-sleeper says, how do you know when the silhouette is correct? That's a great question. You know, once you do it enough times, you eventually will look at it and you kind of just like, you're happy with everything you see. Everything feels like it's in harmony. There's a clear focus and a clear hierarchy of shapes. So everything is kind of like supporting each other. Like think of it like a pyramid. Your strong foundation, which is your primary shapes. Like in this case, he's a circle. That's why it's kind of hard to develop on this. So I've given him some secondary forms here to make him more interesting, which is kind of like this large C shape fanning off the back of him. But the point is that everything should develop upon each other. So all these little ridges on the jellyfish-like tentacles, that's not the magic of the design, but it enforces the foundation of it. So once everything is speaking to each other and making each distinct part of the model stronger, that's when I know that I don't need to play with the silhouette anymore. It takes a while to get there, and the real answer to this is you do it 1,000 times, and eventually you're like, okay, that's good. I've definitely overworked a model where I just kept working silhouette over and over again, and I found the right silhouette by just simply reloading the project from an earlier point. That's also an option. We are getting pretty close here. There's some cool stuff happening. Definitely a beholder, but unique and fun. It's got like a fresh thing going for it, which is exactly what I want. Makes me happy. Monkey mentions X is for symmetry. Yes, but I had radial symmetry on the Y axis, which is news to me. Can we turn that on with Y? Yeah, Y is not a hotkey. How do I have radial symmetry on the Y again? What am I doing to make that happen? The mystery continues. All right, I know R is part of it. Control R. Huh, maybe. I was only ever doing Control Z. I'll let you know if I figure it out. Hindsight says, knowing when a silhouette is correct is the easy part. You'll just know. Knowing how to make it correct is a tricky bit. That's true. I try to avoid saying like, you'll just know, or like, because I said so vibes, because I know a lot of my students are here. I try to be as like specific as possible to like get to that point. Because I do have some students that are excellent artists, but they're not really confident. So they don't just know, even when it is correct. Or, you know, it's art, it's subjective. Clute says, you're looking for things that are clearly identifiable as silhouette. Just as Mia said, primary and secondary forms that reinforce the idea or theme you're working on. Thank you. Look at animation and video game concept art from studios that have a record of good design and world building, and then look at the outline of their designs. Good point. And I don't know how I totally forgot. Like, an easy way to evaluate your silhouette is to turn poly paint off and just make it black. It does still have shadows on it right now because of the way my lighting is built right now. So I think you can actually just change your material to outline. There you go. That works too. Definitely a really cool thing going on here. Though it's complicated and odd, it is still readable as I spin it, but it's most readable from the side. It is not posed. That's part of it, so it's even trickier finding good silhouette and design when you don't even have a pose going for the model. That's a bit different than, that's fun. The normal like 2D illustration process, but very, very related and very, very similar. Ella says, Google says there's no hotkey for it. You could always set one. That's what I thought. I don't know how I'm enabling this. I keep managing to enable my symmetry on the y-axis and radial at the same time without opening this menu. Neat. Monkey says, I don't know. I have turned it on before too. Well, that makes two of us then. Again, X is a real hotkey for turning symmetry on and off. You can even see right here as it toggles. But I'm not sure how I'm doing a different kind of symmetry. That's a neat one. This guy is so spooky and weird. I know y'all are gonna love this, and especially the rest of the community on Patreon and Discord. Non-Sleeper says, maybe 2 glowing fish lights. That might be just an actual case of more is in fact not more. But I can at least make this shape stronger. Gosh, I think this is fun though. As I work on this, we're gonna be fanning these tentacles out to be a bit more distinct from each other. I need to incorporate these lobster arms before I don't. That might be a next stream thing. We're coming up on about a little more than 2 hours. So I'll probably call it good because this is just a really odd, interesting one. I think he just needs some time to marinate. Overall, I'm really happy with this. And thank you guys for sharing your ideas with me. And it always makes the model better. It really does. Gosh, isn't he just wild looking? Good. We're not here to make things boring. And then Monkey says, I'm waiting for my screenshot to go away. Who needs dark vision when you have glowing fish lights? 2 glowing fish lights. Hindsight says, I think you should make the tendrils ring his body below the craters. Below the craters. So you're saying, that's an interesting idea and I actually can't immediately visualize it. So I'd like to make that happen. You're saying to make like a ring of tentacles. I'm gonna try to visualize what you had suggested and then let me know if I was on the mark or not. It's gonna be really sloppy, so don't worry about the polishedness of it. Again, there's radial symmetry again. What the heck? That's so funny. You're saying like a ring like this? I mean, I think it's funny because it looks like he has like a little fancy crown. Let me know if that's what you were talking about, Hindsight. I'm intrigued. He says, no, his arm to face tendrils. I was gonna say, like, that's interesting. But you mentioned his face craters. Ella said, yeah, having the tendrils more fanned out on either side would help. So you're talking about these ones? I mean, they're already pretty fanned out. I will continue to move them and adjust, but at that point, we also need to, before I get too worried about that, this like finer detailed silhouette, we do need to finish all of his components, which one of my things on my ticket here is he's got to have lobster claws. Wolf, and I'll keep all caps, the king of the deep. Yes. Just take them in a line down from the ones ahead of his mouth. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time understanding what you're suggesting. It's like, what is it? It's like, it's trying to communicate. Oh my gosh. Ella, more. I will. I'm almost done with the stream. His arm face tendrils? So you're talking about these. But I was confused by the comment to the craters because the craters are up here. Are you saying to put like another layer of them up here where they kind of fan his face all the way around? Because there's no craters. I'm hung up on the craters as being the landmark for reference here. His name is Bubbles. He looks like a cool version of COVID. Oh, that's so outrageous. Ella says, I can always hear your teacher voice in my head saying you can push it even more. Yes, and I will. Always more. I don't mind just having more of these everywhere though. He looks like, it reminds me of a lionfish. Well, whether you meant it or not, now I kind of just like this. Now I just think this is cool. And it makes the silhouette more interesting from the front too. It also kind of looks like crazy hair. Wolf has revised what they said to Bubbles, King of the Deep. Yes, much more important. Hindsight, looks at your jellyfish model. See the thin tendry bits. Look how they go around the edge of the body like that. Ah, you're saying a ring like this. This is on the bottom of his head, so I don't know if you meant you wanted it on the top, but you're just saying to make a ring of those tentacles like this. So that's the ring. Now it's on the bottom of the body. Now it looks like he's wearing a tutu, and I'm not mad about it. I actually quite like that. I think the magic sauce is going to be in finding out where these little guys go. I do like that a lot. Whether you meant for him to be down here, hindsight, or up here is still left for discussion. If I fit it up there, it's really going to look like hair. But I finally know what you're talking about. That was really well put. I appreciate you taking the time to revise what you're saying, because I want to know what you're saying. It's like an old man hairline. It really is. Hindsight, I'm photoshopping. Hold please. That's the way. What is it? Picture speaks 1,000 words kind of thing. Oh, like coming out of the mouth? Like a mustache? I don't think he was saying to give it a mustache, Clute. I think now we're all wrong in different ways. Poor Clute. Not poor Clute. For hindsight. Though I do love the idea of him having, ooh, tentacles coming out of his mouth. Okay, I don't care. If you guys don't like this, that's fine. He needs tentacles coming out of his mouth. That's awesome. So that was very funny. That was Clute's misinterpretation, or maybe he was spot on. I'm excited to see what he puts in the chat. I think what the people want is a nice mohawk and mustache. Perhaps. I keep trying to end this stream, y'all, so I can have like second lunch, and you keep coming up with great ideas. Ella's happy. Yes, more. More is more. I like having just a few coming up into this brain coral texture. The tentacles of my mouth are my favorite thing, so. That's just cool. We're gonna throw a couple new screenshots here because the design's already changed immensely in the last 15 minutes. Let's see. Monkey says sometimes more is even more. It's true. This is a hot mess. I like it. All right, I'm gonna be wrapping up the stream pretty shortly here, but I don't want to cut it short before Hindsight has his moment in the sun, especially because I'm curious to see, out of all the ideas that people interpreted, if any of us were correct. Let's see who was the most correct. And then I'm not going to stream tomorrow probably because I have an appointment at noon, which by me, I mean my horse is getting his feet done. So he'll get new toenails tomorrow. And that probably won't take very long, but it really just depends where the day goes. Might stream tomorrow around 1 p.m. Eastern time, might not. For sure though, I'll be back streaming on Thursday. And then on Thursday, we'll have another change to our little tavern overlay here. We'll have 2 more mugs down below. Well, there's only one for Aloha right now, but then now we have 2 more members. Very exciting. Thank you for Non-Sleeper and Monkey again for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. It's always, it feels good like when you put in this much work and then seeing the community grow. It's not, you know, a guaranteed thing. So it does happen. It means a lot to me. If you guys are interested in becoming a YouTube member, there's more details somewhere on the screen. I think it's next to the subscribe button down there. If not, thanks for even looking. Wolf says, I have jury duty. Boo. All right. Non-sleeper. Hot mess. I like it. I can see it now. Have a great rest of the day. We will. Thank you. Thank you. And yes, Monkey, you will have a banana embossed on your mug to fit the monkey vibe. All right. Aloha. More. If you guys aren't already, join the Discord. That's where we share the rest of our stuff. I think all of y'all are pretty much already there, but if not, at the very top of the chat, there's some hearts. Join our community. The link is there. Hindsight's almost done. Okay, sounds good. Monkey says, okay, so apparently I have a different YouTube account on my phone. Really? Oh yeah, I see. You're 2 different people here. But they're both called Monkey. Just one's meditating and one is not meditating. Yeah. I don't know if you can merge that. I can't make you green, so only one of you is going to be green now. That is really funny, though. All right. I'm waiting in anticipation to see this great concept from Hindsight, who, unsurprisingly, is also another artist that hangs out with us, which is awesome. I think after this, I'm doing a grocery run. It's gonna be a pretty quiet day after this. I'm very happy with this monstrosity that we made together on stream. He's awful. All right, pressure posted. Thank you, Hindsight. All right, I see the screenshot. It looks just like my model without changes. I think the other one is coming up shortly. I don't see the difference. This is what they posted currently. Oh, for the arm tentacles. Duh, how did I not see that? Oh, like a fan. His arms. All right, we have to do that. Me not seeing it immediately is even funnier. Like it's right in front of me and I'm still like, what are you trying to say? No, I'm just kidding. All right. This is what they were suggesting. We're finally gonna see the secret sauce, y'all. Honestly, more arms is more arms. And I can have it run up the crown here. Don't mind the ridiculous front silhouette. It needs shaping. I would like it if it's even longer though, just like the picture that you did. Because yours looks more like this. Man, this is definitely a more is more model. This is, all of y'all are just feeling more is more. All right, I mostly captured the essence of what you had shared. That is pretty cool. These ones right here are definitely going to have some sort of lobster claw thing on them. So we're gonna miss out on this nice smooth silhouette here. So by having these other tentacles here, it's a win-win in that design. Thank you for taking the time to sketch this up for me. What do you guys think? I think you guys are gonna like it. Let me know. Would have been so much easier with a tablet. Well, we commend you. Oh, he's very happy. Yes, queen. More. Blaze says, you can add small lobster claws like pinchers at the end of those. That is such a good idea, Mini Blaze. We will absolutely do that. All right. I think this monstrosity is finally going to get put to rest until we go full circle and it's just a blob. But this was pretty awesome. This is definitely a model that I'm grateful that I streamed because it would not have come out this cool without you guys. It's just the truth of it. Y'all can rest easy knowing that you made an important creative difference today. Man, what an absolute disaster. I love him. Jeez, this is so cool and bizarre. And for anyone that's like, how are you gonna 3D print that? Don't even come out with that right now. I'll figure that out later. I will figure that out later. He will print. And we will have a very creative base solution to make that happen. And that creative solution is all these tentacles are touching the base. Hindsight says, I like stingers on the end, but that's just me. I could just do one side of a lobster claw pincher and it'll look the same. Thank you guys for reminding to like the stream. Very, very sweet. Clete says, I feel like there's too many things crowding space, which removes the opportunity for painting. Oh, we are iterating like crazy. There's going to be some simplification happening here. Don't you worry. Yeah, posing will also help create breathing room. Absolutely. Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to let you guys be ridiculous. I'm going to post another link to the Discord. Most of y'all hooligans are already here. I know that. But for those of you that are not, join the Discord. Come hang out, share ideas, and be silly. Have a good time. If you just want stuff, I have stuff. 3D printable models, that's on Patreon. Mentorship, also another Patreon. Both of those are linked in the description. And if not, just keep coming back to the channel. I stream pretty much every day. Yes, Aloha. I was gonna say, seeing Ella and Aloha side by side just gave me like a seizure. Okay, Aloha. Yes, hooligans. I did not stutter. He needs gills. I need a break. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I will see you tomorrow around 1 p.m. Possibly. If not, Thursday. Take care of yourselves and have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye. What do you guys want? You're literally yelling in the chat. I said I was gone, and now we're back. What? Merch. You guys want resin smoothies. That's illegal. You did summon me, though. It's like saying Beetlejuice 3 times. If you keep screaming more, I guess I just appear again. Oh my god. Merch, merch, merch. Yeah, what would you guys even want? I can't sell you guys resin smoothies. Scatter, panic. Oh my god. Hindsight is correct, like told you. It's true. I lurk around because I post the screenshots and stuff on other platforms and whatnot, so my butt is still in the chair. We are not encoring, we are finished. But I will complain to you guys about how cool this stream was. Because look, we started with this, and then it kept iterating. Like, how fun is this? This is 1, 2, 3. I think the final design is going to settle somewhere in between a mixture of 2 and 3, but I was calling it at 1. So the fact that you guys pushed this design threefold is pretty incredible. This secret stream, this show after the show. I'm watching the view count go back up. Guys, I need to rest. More of those dice trays. I could do that. I can absolutely do that. We do have the CNC up and running again. I made some really sick dice boxes. Yeah, I will do that. I think Monkey, you have 2 of them because you're awesome. I hear the secret stream is where Mia does her gameplay walkthroughs. No, it is not. But Monster Hunter Wilds is coming out soon, and you guys will never see me again. So yeah. All right, I'm entertained that you guys summoned me. I'm gonna leave for real this time, and you'll know because I'm gonna end the stream hard in like 5 seconds. Goodbye.